We're live in the tavern. Cheers and huzzah! Happy Halloween, blessed Samhain. I am very, very happy to be coming to you tonight in my true form. But I just wanted to jump on really quick and just give you just a little bit of Halloween fun in the tavern here. And as you can see, we do have a lovely backdrop here, and I am giving this one a try as I'm experimenting with some different backdrops for the tavern, just to make it feel a little bit more like you're back in time and in a tavern, basically. So let me know what you think of this backdrop, and if you like it, I'll keep it. If not, we'll just keep experimenting a little bit till we find one that works, because this live stream is a constant work in progress. So, but I hope you are having a safe and happy Halloween season. Hope you're having a blessed Samhain. And first, as always, I start out these live streams with shout outs and sort of like a what's on the tavern table this evening. So, part of my tavern setup, I have this Castle Blood mug here, and just as a little shout out to the awesome people at the haunted attraction Castle Blood. They've been wonderful supporters of my previous endeavors, and they're just awesome people over there. So I just wanted to give a cheers to them. And in this mug is Witch's Brew, Witch's Brew tea, and it is by my lovely friends from Gettysburg, Fanny's. Well, they are called Fanny's Boozy Jams and Jellies, and now I think as they're expanding their product beyond just the jams and jellies, they are also, they've, I think, rebranded themselves as Fanny's Battlefield Jams and Teacup Delights, because they are making candles now. They're making, just different things, in like different like little tea items. Tea, this is their Witch's Brew tea. And when I was on here earlier this month with April of Fashions Revisited, I was drinking this is their pumpkin pie tea. Try to get that to focus, but yeah, their pumpkin pie tea. I was drinking that last time. Tonight, it's like the night before Halloween, so I was gonna drink Witch's Brew. So, all right, and this is Witch's Brew right here. This is a very, very delicious tea. I absolutely love it. It has peppermint, spearmint, honeybush, chamomile, calendula, and and rose. Yes, I knew that. Yeah, I thought there was one more. And this pumpkin, it has what all does it have? Has a couple different. It has carrot, beet, hibiscus, cinnamon. It has pomegranate, cardamom, pumpkin pieces. So, and I think it says some apple as well. So yeah, so this is also a very, very delicious tea as well. And I'm not just a tea drinker, I'm also very much a coffee drinker too. And this is probably one of my favorite new coffee companies out there. It's a Goth Rider, as you can see, and it's definitely up my alley. They're Goth Rider gasoline coffee. This is my second time getting this coffee, purchasing this from them, and I have to say I absolutely love it. I love this coffee. So I definitely recommend this. And I'll leave everybody's handle in the description, but definitely check them out. Okay, and of course I always have candles on my tavern table. So I have this from Gettysburg, okay, also hailing from Gettysburg. I have quite a bit from Gettysburg on my table tonight. It's one of my favorite places. This is from the historic Farnsworth House Inn. And hey, thanks for joining. This is from the historic Farnsworth House Inn, and it is Nutty Caramel Crisp. So it's a very, very lovely fall scent, and of course it's all natural. You can get these candles. They have many different scents, but you can get them from the Farnsworth House Inn gift shop in Gettysburg, and I always pay a visit to the Farnsworth House. Anytime I go to Gettysburg, I try to get there once a year. Even if I can't stay for the full weekend, I do definitely try to at least day trip it up there. But yes, I did discuss a great deal of the Farnsworth Inn when April was on earlier this month, and I've never stayed in the Farnsworth House. I don't think I've been brave enough yet to stay in the Farnsworth House. It is on my bucket list. I especially want to stay in the Sarah Black room because that's where the infamous wedding dress that supposedly I can't remember if it's midnight or 3 a.m. The dress has been known to actually come to life and start kind of dancing and floating around the room. And the wedding dress is it's in the corner of the room, and I want to stay in that room. But I wouldn't want to stay in the room by myself. That's the only thing. So I've been to the Farnsworth House. I've eaten there. I've been on a couple of ghost tours there. It's very, very fascinating history of that house, especially when you figure in Harvey Sweeney. I've eaten in Sweeney's Tavern, which is also connected to the Farnsworth House. But yeah, I mean, I've done pretty much everything in the Farnsworth House except stay the night there. So I don't know, might have to do that within maybe the coming year. And of course, maybe I'll film the whole ordeal. So, but I have stayed in a haunted bed and breakfast before, just not the Farnsworth House. For some reason, I've not been brave enough to do that yet, but I am hoping maybe within this next year I'll do it and vlog about it, and definitely make sure I stay in the Sarah Black room. So, but this candle is from their gift shop, and like I said, it's Nutty Caramel Crisp. Okay, and then another candle that came from Gettysburg. This is once again giving a shout out to my friends from Fanny's Battlefield Jams and Teacup Delights. It's their Candle A Witch's collection. It's absolutely lovely. It reminds me of like kind of floral Victorian, like a Victorian parlor, sort of if you were going to do a seance or something, you know. But it does definitely gives kind of like that Victorian witch's parlor vibe to it. And last but definitely not least, hold on, I don't want to knock everything over here. I have Mythology Candles, a book of Kells. This is a very lovely candle. The whole theme behind this candle, deep within the ancient monasteries of the British Isles, hooded monks paint intricate artwork into the delicate pages of the illuminated manuscripts. Notes of damp ink, leather, bound covers, sweet musk, and dried lavender between the pages. So yes, but this is an absolutely gorgeous candle. Like I said, I'm very, very interested in the history of the Celtic Isles, especially the Isle of Skellig, where a lot of 5th century monks were said to basically try to copy from memory down information that was lost during the fire in Alexandria, during the fall of the Roman Empire, during the barbarian attacks. The great library of Alexandria was completely just decimated. And these monks actually, took down a lot of the information from memory that they could recall, And that is how we have some of the information today. So, so yes, so that is what is on my table. And what I love about this time of year is that it really invokes just this very, I don't know about you, but to me it just invokes this kind of like this very old world vibe to it, where, because you know, it's said at this time of year that the veils between the worlds are supposed to thin, and we're supposed to be a little bit more in touch with our ancestors, a little bit more in touch with well, not just like, you know, those that we descend from, but those, you know, just in general that came before us. And just for me, this definitely, and I know a lot of people appreciate it for the scares, you know, and I do as well. But I really tend to just kind of, I just very much enjoy not only the fall weather, not only the change of the seasons, that, you know, the earth is now shedding. It's basically dead leaves, and, you know, getting ready to go into hibernation, and then in spring emerge in rebirth. And I really do appreciate that part of this time of year. And like I said, this is the time of year where I get the most old world, just this kind of old world feeling, more so than really any other time of year. And this kind of fuels my love of history and folklore. And actually my most recent episode that I just released, of the Hidden Library podcast. Hey, thanks for joining the Hidden Library podcast. I talked about the Scary Stories trilogy. I'm not going to give away too much of that episode, but it was but it was like those books, and I think any 80s and 90s babies, you know, we know exactly, you know, what the Scary Stories trilogy is. Alvin Schwartz and his brilliance in putting together those books, and then of course Stephen Gamble, who just completely rocked those illustrations. I mean, those illustrations, like, I think gave us all nightmares when we were children, but but we still kept going back for more. But I do believe that it was being exposed to those books that really just ignited a sense of curiosity within me, and just really kind of drew me into wanting to find out about the unknown, and just, you know, just kind of discover things, and just things that, you know, maybe might spark a curiosity, and it did influence a lot of the work that I do today. And so I just released that episode of the Hidden Library podcast, so I will be dropping that link in the description. And not only that, but of course, this is the time of year where a lot of people do experience paranormal activity, even more so than really any other time of year. And I did do, in my episode with April earlier this month, she and I did discuss some experience that we had on historic sites. And sorry, my throat's a little bit dry tonight, but just different experiences that we had on historic sites, and also just some of our favorite paranormal stories about, you know, that have to do with historic sites as well. I know I had experiences at the John Neville House, everything from hearing a voice and nobody would be there, to when I was making my rounds to close up. And of course I would put out, we have like those electric candles, where they look like candles, but the flame's electric, so it's not a real candle, so it's safe to leave unattended. But, but of course, like I would, go and I'd be, turning off the candles, and then I would do a second walk around, because I'd always do a second walk around, just to make sure. And sure enough, there would be 1 or 2 candles flickering again. And I know for a fact I did turn them off. So, I've had things like that happen, and I had other instances, and I believe I did talk about this in my episode with April. And but I'll talk about it again, because because it is kind of gave me no, I wouldn't say it gave me a scare, but it definitely just kind of like made me go like, oh, like, okay. Where of course very often when I was in the Neville house, especially when I would be there by myself, I would very often, I would hear people cough, like where I would hear somebody coughing or something, and there would be nobody there, which I have been told that's not uncommon if you're in an old house. Hearing like a cough from somewhere, or like a sneeze or something, is actually, not uncommon at all. So that's something that I have heard, and there was one time, I think it was last year, I was setting up for, we were doing a virtual Christmas tour of the house. And it was last year, because we were doing a virtual Christmas tour of the house because we couldn't do the live ones. And so what happened was, I was there with one of the board members, and, I was setting up. And then she left. she left for the evening. This was maybe early evening. It wasn't quite dark outside yet. But I was there, just to finish some things up, because there were some things I did want to finish, and she had left. So I'm there by myself, just kind of, and I'm getting, I'm going to be, at this point, I'm getting ready to leave soon as well. But like she had left, and I was there just kind of, getting some things together and everything. And I hear this woman's voice coming from the entrance. And at first I thought, oh, maybe the board member, maybe she's back. And so I go and look, and there was nobody there. And then I went and I looked outside and looked out to the parking lot. My car was the only one there. So, yeah, so I mean, definitely like that, like I said, it didn't really creep me out, because I didn't really feel anything threatening or malevolent or anything like that. But it's still, when something like that happens, it still catches you off guard just a little bit. So that's something that happened to me, at a, history side. And like I said, then there's some other small things, like hearing, just hearing somebody cough, hearing, just maybe feeling like a tap on your shoulder, things that really aren't that uncommon. And yeah, I want to know, like, what, have you ever been to a history site where, perhaps maybe you experienced something, or even any site for that matter? Yeah, definitely let me know. I'd love to hear it. And yes, and also, of course, at Gettysburg, I've had things happen. So, I mean, you can't go to Gettysburg and like not have something happen. So, some of, though, my favorite creatures, my favorite stories that come from a lot of like the history and lore that's out there is I love a lot of Celtic and folk tales. So a lot of Celtic folk tales. And hey Lex, how are you doing? So one of my favorite Celtic folk tales is the story of the Dullahan. And if you're familiar with the Headless Horseman, it's basically where Washington Irving got his Legend of Sleepy Hollow story from. So basically what the Dullahan does is he comes out only at certain times of the year, usually at certain festivals, usually an autumn festival. And what he basically does is he he gallops through the towns, and he has this whip that's actually made out of a human spine, which I don't know if Washington Irving went that far in his tale, but he has a whip that's like made out of a human spine. And the Dullahan because in Washington Irving's tale, you have the headless horseman searching for his head, basically, but the Dullahan actually has his head, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm Irish and Scottish in my heritage, but some of the language I'm still a little bit, like the pronunciation, I'm still a little bit iffy on, so I apologize if I'm completely butchering that. But I do want to learn Gaelic. But like the difference between the Washington Irvington version and also the Dullahan, the actual Celtic version, is the fact that in Washington Irving's tale, the headless horseman is searching for his head, basically. He rides around, he carries a pumpkin, and he lost his head in battle, and he's seeking out his own, basically, a replacement for his head, And with the Dullahan, though, he's actually carrying his head and the whip that's made out of a human spine. And so he is going to, so he's basically, he's galloping through, through a town, and he is, and this is when, and it is said that when the Dullahan is, is making his way through town, you can't look at him. If he turns his head towards you and looks you in the eyes, his eyes are pretty much like fire. And so if you were to look at him, all right, you would basically be blinded. And what he does is he calls out the name of a person, and that person basically ends up dying. So if you hear a Dullahan call your name, I mean that basically that person's going to die. So if you hear him call your name, you better start running. but there really is no escaping him, because once the Dullahan calls your name, your soul instantly leaves your body, and you basically just, like, you cease to exist, and he takes you to his world with him. Of course, if I tell kids this tale, I do kind of have to water it down a bit, but that's basically what the Dullahan is. And there's another tale. Of course, I told during St. Patrick's Day, I told the story of the Changeling. Check out the St. Patrick's Day episode on the Changeling. That's another tale that I'm very fascinated by. And so those are two Celtic tales that I do enjoy. And let me see how much time I have. Okay, so, all right. So I am going to finish this off by telling you another story that happened to me. I don't think I told this in the episode with April, so you're probably hearing this for the first time now, so yay. So this didn't really happen, it didn't really happen at a historic site. It actually happened at a haunted house. And my experience at this, it was a haunted attraction pretty much. And it was a very popular haunted attraction. It still is a very popular haunted attraction in my area. It's not the Castle Blood haunted attraction that this happened at, but they're also a very popular attraction in my area. But at this particular haunted location, so I went there with some friends. This happened like a few years ago. I went there with some friends, and we were having, going through the house. We were having a good time. And at the end of this house in particular, this particular attraction, there is a corn maze that you have to get through. You have to get through this corn maze, and then you can go to the, basically, you're done. You know, that's how you get to the end. And we were definitely on the struggle bus when it came to our, you know, finding our way through the maze, because we just could not find our way out. And it was getting late, and then we kept running into this other group of people, and they were in the same boat. Like, we kept on, you know, like they were trying to find their way out too, and not having any luck. And, you know, and we were just like, you know, we would run into each other again and be like, oh, hey, yeah, we're still lost. You're still lost too, you know. And then, at some point we ran, and this is, you know, my friends and I, we ran into this guy, okay? And the way he looked, we kind of assumed that he was part of the attraction, and, you know, and because he kept on popping up. And he was by himself too, which was why we assumed that he was just part of the attraction as well. Because like the way he looked, and also the way he, you know, the fact that he was by himself. And because at first I think one of us assumed that he was with the other group that that we kept running into, that were also struggling to find their way out. But he was, but then it was pretty clear that he was not part of that second group either. And so he seemed to kind of be following our group. And we found it, and like I said, like that's why we thought, you know, he was by himself. He didn't, I mean, I hate to say somebody doesn't look right, but the way he, like I said, the way he looked, you would have thought maybe he was part of the attraction. And so we're, you know, we're there, and I don't know, maybe he was there to like kind of follow us out of the maze or something like that. So, you know, so we're there, and we're, you know, we're still trying to find our way out, every so often running into this other group, and this guy's still behind us. And, you know, and like I said, at first we don't really think anything of it, but then, like I said, it's kind of weird. We thought it a little weird that he would be in here by himself as a guest, like as a visitor of the attraction. Because typically at these attractions, they send you in groups. Like usually maybe groups of 6, for instance. So if say if you go, like say with only one other person, because there's been times I've gone to these haunted attractions with just me and like another friend. What they would do then is they would pair you up with, say, maybe a group of 4, or, you know, just so that everybody has like can have as even amount as possible of people, you know, going through the house. Like you need to space it out as much as possible so people aren't running into each other. But, you know, you also need to keep everybody moving through. So we found it a little bit odd that he was just kind of coming through by himself. Like I said, which is why we assumed that he was part of the attraction. So, you know, a little bit of time goes by. We're still running into this other group, and, you know, like we're still struggling too. And then it got to a point where it was getting so late. I think the haunted attraction was getting ready to close. Yeah, they were getting ready to close, because they actually sent workers in, you know, people working the attraction in their costumes to guide us out. You know, they found my group, then they found the second group that, you know, we kept running into, and they let us all out. And this guy was still behind us too. And so we were, so like I said, and we're still maybe assuming that this guy also works for the attraction too, because, you know, it seemed like he was definitely, like I said, just very quiet and just kind of following everybody. It was like really strange. And he just seemed to pop up out of nowhere too. And so, you know, he's kind of following everybody out of there. And, you know, then of course, we finally exit this corn maze, thanks to the help of some of the staff at the haunted attraction. And so we're heading out to the parking lot, heading over to the car, and we still see this guy like walking out toward, basically, not really walking with us, but just kind of like, and he didn't really say much. He's, like I said, very stoic, very quiet, a little, like I said, a little offsetting. And, and he just kept walking and not really looking at anyone. And so we were, so we're just kind of like, like I said, we didn't really think too much of it. We're still kind of assuming that he was maybe part of the haunted attraction. But we're going out to the parking lot, kind of saying our farewells to the second group that was also struggling to get out of the corn maze. And, we're just kind of like, laughing at how, we're the, the losers who couldn't find our way out of the corn maze. So basically the staff had to come and like hold our hands to to help us get out of there. But we noticed that this guy, like, he didn't like maybe turn around and go back to the haunted attraction. He didn't even like go to his car or anything like maybe like go to a car or anything like that. Like, he just kept walking. And he walked down where this place was, it was pretty much in the middle of nowhere. And so he's just kind of walking down the parking lot, and we're just kind of like standing there watching him, like what's going on, And he just keeps walking and walking and walking, and just walks out to the road and pretty much like just disappears into the night. And we're just all kind of looking at each other, like, my friends and I were just all kind of looking at each other like, all right, like what's going on? Like it was kind of an unsettling experience. Hey, thank you for joining. It was kind of a very unsettling experience, and we didn't report him just because he didn't really do anything, so it was kind of like, and he was gone at that point anyway, so it wasn't really, and we didn't hear about anything happening or anything like that night, so I don't know. He might have been harmless, maybe he was actually very harmless, and maybe just a little, I don't know. It was just one of those things where it's just kind of like, you just kind of look at it and it's just like, okay, yeah, that was really weird. And just the fact that, like I said, this place was kind of in the middle of nowhere, and he didn't even get into a car to go home or anything like that. He just kept walking out to the road and disappeared. So I don't know. But yeah, but if you've had like any experiences, whether it was at a haunted attraction, a history site, I would love to hear it. So, but I do need to sign off now. Thank you to those that popped in, and if you missed it, the replay will be available later on. And I send you a big cheers, huzzah, and thank you so much for joining me for my live streams so far. And like I said, let me know what you think of this backdrop, if I should keep it, or if you'd like to see something a little bit different. Because like I said, this live stream, it's a constant work in progress. So, all right, so have a safe and happy Halloween. Definitely, if you want to tell me about your Halloween ghost stories that maybe happened to you or happened to somebody you know, I would love to hear it. Just drop them in the comments. So, all right. So thank you so much. Have a safe and happy Halloween. Have a blessed Samhain, and I will see you in the next Tavern live stream. All right, take care, and I do have some cool guests coming up too, which I'm excited to announce very soon. All right, take care. I'll see you in the next episode. Cheers.